Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, I was sent an interesting article from one of the listeners and said, could you please walk us through this? Because this doesn't look good. So let's go ahead and go through this article and I'll explain what the heck they're talking about. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code PIMPY, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Okay, so this just recently came out. I believe it was yesterday. What was it, 26th? Yeah, on the 26th it came out. Why investing in the Iraqi dinar is a bad idea. What's happening with the IQD to the USD? Now look, they make all the same points as they have in the past. That's why it's easy to address. Since some people are buying the Iraqi dinar, the national currency of Iraq, in hopes of striking it rich. But is the Iraqi dinar a viable investment, or are these investors simply throwing their money away? Overall, it's a very bad idea to buy the Iraqi dinar if your goal is to make a profit. The process is extremely inefficient, and cashing out the investment will be difficult due to the illiquidity market for the Iraqi dinar. So what they're saying here is, look, there's not enough people interested in the Iraqi dinar for there to be liquidity in it if you try to cash out. The only sensible reason for anyone in the United States or in the West at large to purchase the Iraqi dinar would be for numismatic collectible purposes, or if you're traveling to Iraq. So collectors is what they're saying. Just like they talk about with the Zimbabwe dollar being more valuable as a collectible than it is as a currency. So here's some of the highlights. Some people, especially in the United States, are buying the Iraqi dinar as an investment. Most people who invest in Iraqi dinar do so because of the theories that the dinar will become worth much more than it is today through a revaluation or an RV. However, buying the Iraqi dinar is very unlikely to result in a profit. The currency is facing low liquidity and a possibility of redenomination, which we've seen this already happen. Now, notice this part right here. The possibility of a redenomination. Remember I told you this is something that we should at least be aware of. A redenomination. The lopping of the zeros. The deletion of the zeros. This person in this article is warning you the possibility of a redenomination as a negativity. And why do you suppose that is? So if you increase the exchange rate, let's say it goes 1 for 1. With the currency the way it is today, your $25,000 dinar would be exchanged for 25,000 US dollars. But if we have a redenomination, just like Pimpy said, and they delete the zeros, then your 25,000 dinar becomes a 25 dinar. If they exchange it 1 to 1, you're not getting $25,000. You're getting 25. So here, even in this article, it warns you of the possibility. Now, I tell you guys, at least be aware of it. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but just be aware that that's always a possibility, okay? And even in this article, it's warning you of that possibility. Iraq dinar investors are often targeted in scams that are trying to convince them to invest in IQD without letting them know about its pitfalls. Yeah, we see a lot of content creators out there doing exactly that. I'm trying to tell you there are some pitfalls, but I'm the bad guy. When I'm just trying to keep you grounded and keep things honest. Those other people don't want to tell you the truth because they make money lying to you and misleading you. The Iraqi dinar is not a free-floating currency. When it comes to the Iraqi dinar, it's important to understand that the IQD is not a free-flowing currency. In other words, its value is not determined by the foreign exchange market. Instead, the Central Bank of Iraq controls the exchange rate. At the moment, the official Iraqi dinar exchange rate is 1,310 dinars per dollar, but the actual price at which people are buying and selling can vary significantly. So what does Iraq need to do to become a free-floating currency? For Iraq to have a free-floating currency, it would need to implement several measures to enable its currency to fluctuate freely based on supply and demand in the foreign exchange market. Firstly, Iraq would need to dismantle its existing exchange regime, which is currently a managed float, with the Iraqi dinar pegged to the US dollar within a narrow margin. This would involve allowing the value of the currency to be determined solely by the market forces, without any intervention from the Central Bank of Iraq. Secondly, Iraq would need to establish a well-functioning, transparent foreign exchange market. This would require developing robust financial infrastructure, including reliable trading platforms, clear regulations, and effective supervision. The CBI should also ensure that there is no restrictions or limitations on the buying and selling of foreign currencies. Thirdly, Iraq would need to promote economic stability and reduce inflation. A free-floating currency can be volatile, and a stable macroeconomic environment can help mitigate this volatility. The CBI should focus on maintaining low inflation rates, ensuring fiscal discipline, and promoting sustainable economic growth, which they're currently working on right now. Fourthly, Iraq would need to enhance its monetary policy framework to effectively manage a free-floating currency. This includes setting clear objectives for monetary policy, implementing transparent and predictable interest rate policies, and regularly monitor and analyze economic indicators. Lastly, Iraq would need to build credibility and confidence in its financial system. This can be achieved by strengthening institutional capacity, improving transparency and accountability, and fostering a conducive business environment. By doing so, Iraq can attract foreign investment, which can help stabilize the value of its currency in the long run. So Iraq is doing an outstanding job of trying to tackle these things. They're not there yet, but they are trying to do something about these very things that are being stated. So unlike a currency pair such as the US dollar and the euro, where they are highly liquid and efficient foreign exchange market, exchanging other currencies for the IQD is very inefficient, especially outside of Iraq itself. In practice, this means that anyone who wants to buy the IQD from a dealer will receive physical banknotes by mail in exchange for a payment. There's also quite a lot of variations in the quoted buy and sell rates for the USD to IQD, and there's a difference in how circulated and uncirculated banknotes are valued. It says a very brief history on the IQD. It says the Iraqi dinar was introduced in 1932, the same year which Britain granted the Kingdom of Iraq its independence. However, the value of the Iraqi dinar remained tied to the British pound until 1959, when it was tied to the US dollar instead. The initial exchange rate was 1 IQD for $2.80 of American dollars. The Gulf War, which lasted from 1990 to 1991, tanked the value of the Iraqi dinar. By the mid-90s, the exchange rate was 3,000 Iraqi dinars for 1 US dollar. Well, we're much better now than back then, that's for sure. Interestingly enough, Iraqi dinar notes that were printed before the Gulf War were known as the Swiss dinar or continue to be used in the Kurdistan region. Meanwhile, the government of Iraq began issuing lower quality notes in large amounts. These notes were known as the Saddam dinars. Swiss dinars banknotes were considered more valuable than Saddam dinars. Previously, the Iraqi dinar consisted of 1,000 fils, which is similar to how the US dollar consists of 100 pennies. So it would take 1,000 fils to equal 1 Iraqi dinar is what it's saying. However, due to high inflation, fils are not used anymore, and the dinar is the smallest unit of currency used in Iraq. One of the reasons the Iraqi dinar is not very valuable is that oil, which is Iraq's largest export by far, is priced in US dollars. As of 2017, petroleum accounts for a whopping 94% of Iraq's total exports. We spoke about how they have to find non-oil revenues to help strengthen the Iraqi dinar. Some people are buying the Iraqi dinar with the expectation that there would be a revaluation or an RV that would significantly increase its value. People who have invested in Iraqi dinar are active in online communities where they discuss the latest Iraqi dinar news and speculate on how they could impact the currency's exchange rate in the future. To be clear, the Iraqi dinar revaluations happens occasionally when the Central Bank of Iraq decides to change the official exchange rate. In February of 2023, for example, the central bank set the official exchange rate at 1,320 dinars per dollar. Before this revaluation, the rate was set at 1,460 dinars for every dollar. As of the time of writing this article, the exchange rate is 1,308 dinars for every dollar. Most people who are buying the Iraqi dinar are doing so with the expectation of massive profits. See, that's the thing about my channel here when I say we're staying grounded. I get there's other content creators pumping you up, getting you all excited about the possibility of getting a huge payday. But remember, it's only a possibility. Just like there's a possibility that they could redenominate before they change the exchange rate. That's why I think it's funny that you have people like Militia Man and Mark Z rooting for a redenomination before they change the exchange rate. This is how you know they don't know what they're talking about. A redenomination has nothing to do with the exchange rate. We want the exchange rate to change, not the Iraqi currency to delete the zeros. We don't want that to happen. The narratives about the significant revaluation of the Iraqi dinar seems to originate mostly from conspiracy theorists or unfounded speculation based on relatively mundane news events connected to Iraq. Exactly. That's what happens. Every time a little thing comes out in the news, sure, don't get me wrong, it's good news, but they continue to blow it out of proportion. One of the main justifications used by those who are buying the Iraqi dinar is that Iraq's currency was valued significantly higher in the past. Before the 1990 Iraq invasion of Kuwait, the Iraqi dinar exchanged against the US dollar was 1 IQD to more than $3. It's important to understand that his exchange rate was set by Saddam Hussein's autocratic regime and didn't reflect the actual market demand for the Iraqi dinar. Some Iraqi dinar investors are expecting the IQD will be revalued to the pre-war exchange rate, which is an extremely unrealistic scenario. Notice they don't say it's not going to happen. Besides the low chances of the Iraqi dinar increasing in value and the uncertain future of Iraq, the biggest issue with investing in the currency is that it's extremely poor liquidity. In addition, Iraqi dinar dealers are buying IQD at a much lower rates than they're selling it for. So here's a reason for why you shouldn't invest in it. Poor liquidity. For example, we have found an online platform where customers can buy and sell the Iraqi dinar, buying 1 million dinars packaged as 25,000 IQD notes, which cost you $1,075. Meanwhile, if you wanted to sell the 1 million Iraqi dinars on the same website, you would only get 625 in return. In other words, if you use this website to buy the Iraqi dinar, the value of the Iraqi dinar against the US dollar would need to increase by 72% just so you'd be able to break even. It goes without saying this is a horrible deal for an investment standpoint. This is not an isolated example. As all platforms we have been able to find online that buy and sell Iraqi dinars are offering similar bad deals. Now pay attention, possibility of a redenomination. Another risk you'll take on if you're buying the Iraqi dinar is the currency that have a very low value or often redenominated. When this happens, the government issues new currency and the owners of the old currency have to exchange it for the new currency at the predetermined exchange rate. It's certainly possible that Iraq will at some point decide to redenominate their currency. If this happens, there's a chance that the only way to exchange the old currency for the new will be locally in Iraq. In such a scenario, it could be very expensive for foreign Iraqi dinar owners to exchange their Iraqi dinars for the new currency. When they talk about a predetermined exchange rate, they're talking about the old currency for the new currency, not the currency versus other countries' currencies. This has nothing to do with the foreign exchange rate. This has to do with the old currency versus the new currency. This is why I keep telling you guys, man, stop rooting for the deletion of the zeros. You don't want that to happen. But you got the people that go, no, man, it has to do with the exchange rate. No, it doesn't. Iraqi dinar scams. In addition, people who are interested in buying the Iraqi dinar are often targeted by various scams. In fact, the Washington State Department of Financial Institution has published an alert warning U.S. residents of the Iraqi dinar scams. Look, we all know this. The Iraqi dinar is not a scam itself. The Iraqi dinar is legitimate. But there are people out there that use the Iraqi dinar to pull off scams. We know this already. says buying Iraqi dinar as an investment is extremely risky and should be avoided. So it's not that Iraqi dinar is a scam, and it's not that the Iraqi dinar won't increase in value. But what we're really dealing with is probability. What is the probability of the Iraqi dinar increasing in value while maintaining the same currencies that we have today? That's what we're really dealing with, the probabilities. There's a high degree of uncertainty when it comes to the future development of Iraq, and the Iraqi dinar has a very poor liquidity. Dealers who sell the IQD will only buy it back at drastically lower rates, which means the value of the Iraqi dinar would need to increase dramatically just for investors to break even, let alone make a profit. So there you have it. This is why, people always think I'm being negative about the Iraqi dinar. I'm not. I'm trying to make sure people are grounded. And I don't care what those other idiots tell you, jumping up and down and screaming, this is what's going to happen. They're either naive or purposely lying to you and misleading you, or they don't know their ass from a hole in the ground and they're just misleading all of you. Here, I tell you guys, this is what we need to look for. This is what we need to deal with. And we don't want the deletion of the zeros. We do want the Iraqi dinar to continue to increase in value without deleting the zeros. That is how you're going to make your money. Anyways, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you later. I'm out.